Hello, my loves, welcome back. So, we're going to make this design on the screen. If you're new here, you're welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome as well. Thank you for joining us. So, today we're making this beautiful wrap gather dress skirt. It's a skirt, guys. It's a skirt. I'm used to saying dresses, right? So we have a fabric unfold using the wider circumference of the body, which is the hip. For this, my client, the hip is 46 divided by 4. That gives us 11.5. So I'll add half 2 inches seam allowance. I'll go ahead and mark out my starting point. Then from there, I'll mark the length of the skirt plus 2 inches hemming allowance. The length of the skirt is 29 plus 2 inches hemming allowance. That is 31. So I've marked out 31 right here. I also got here to mark out my waist to hip length, which is 9 inches for this client. So from the starting point, I'll make a mark at 9 inches on my tape, then rule it out. So that would be the hip line, and that would be where I'll take the hip measurements. So on the starting point, that'll be where I'll take the waist measurement. So to further make this clear, I'm going to mark 2 inches from the hemline, and that is my hemming allowance, just so that we identify all of these points. Now I'm going to start repeating my measurements. So on the waistline, which is at the starting point, I'm going to mark my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches seam allowance. Guys, at this point, you can add 1 inch for your dart if you want to add a dart to this skirt. On the hip line, I marked the hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches, and I connected from the waist to the hip, okay, using a curve. Now on the hemline, I'm going to mark exactly the same thing I have. Now this is a wrap skirt, so you can taper the hem of the skirt by removing 1 inch from there, or you can just leave it straight because it's a wrap skirt. If your client wants it a bit more fitted, please make sure you taper it down so that it's fitted. But this is a wrap skirt. I feel it's okay to leave it not tapered, so I didn't taper in mine. But please, if you want your skirt really fitted, you can go inwards from the hem by 1 to 1.5. Okay, after marking exactly what you have on the hip. If you mark exactly what you have on the hip on the hemline, you're going to subtract 1 to 1.5. Now that was the back. Now we're making the front. So on the front, you're folding your fabric into two, then you're adding extra 6 inches. Instead of adding maybe zip allowance of 2 inches or whatever, but for the front, we're making the front bigger by 6 inches. So I'll mark out 6 inches first. So this is my 6 inches. You can make 5, you can make 5.5, you can make 6. So this is 6 inches. Then I'll place the already cut out back. Like I said, the first one I cut out is the back. I know that normal skirt, this is usually the front. Then for the back, add 2 inches allowance. But for this wrap skirt, we are adding 6 inches in front, and the back is just the usual front of our normal skirt. Okay, so I'm just going to mark out my points so that I'll have everything equal. Then I'll cut out. So the only difference between the front and the back is that the front has 6 inches allowance, and this is because this is a wrap skirt, so you need space or allowance to wrap around the body. So that's why we're adding as much as 6 inches, and if you like, you can add as much as 10 inches if you like a wrap skirt very covered. Like, so I've cut it out. This is the front. You can see it's really wide, and this is the back that does not have the 6 inches modification. So this is the back. I've opened it up, and now this is the front. So I've also placed them right sides facing right sides. Okay, you can see. So it is now time for us to make the style line that we want. So you're going to pick out the side, the front, okay, the part of the front where you want the slanted line or the asymmetric design to be on. Right, so you can take out that part because you're going to cut out the asymmetric design on only one part of the front. So depending on how you want it from the side, you can come up by 11 inches, then draft. So at this point, practically, this is what you want. Whatever you want, that's the shape you're going to get. Okay, just draft out any style line you want. This is your skirt, this is your dress. So whatever you want, however you want the design to be. So for me, I stepped up by 11 inches. You can do as much as 15. You can even from the side seam. Okay, this is another design. On the side seam, you can step up by 10, 11, then connect it to up at the waistline. Okay, so that just depends on what you want. Now at this point, whatever style line you want, that's what you will do, but just make sure that you indicate your 2 inches seam allowance. I've marked it out, and that from that point, that's where I'm going to start making my style line. Okay, so however you want to. You can see mine is as high as 19 inches. Okay, sorry, there are hands that are, asking questions and I'm trying to explain to them as well as make those videos. So I have people that are also learning physically and as just the way you're learning online. So I'll take out the other pieces, then leave out only the parts that I want to have the asymmetric design on. Then I'm going to cut out the shape I want for my style line. Like I said earlier, this depends on what you want. From the side seam, you can come up by 11 inches, then make the style line up until the waistline. Just curve it up onto the waistline, whatever style you want. Okay, so this is just a modification, right? I did not want to copy the inspiration hook, line, and sinker. I wanted to make mine a bit different. So this is what I have. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut out all of these pieces on my lining. I'm going to transfer them on the lining. So for the back, I'll fold into two and cut the lining. Then for the front, I'll cut them separately. Okay. So this is it. I've cut out the lining. I'm just showing you what I have here. This is on the part that we're going to wrap around the body. Okay. The part that would have the symmetric design. Now I want to get the length from where I have the style line to the length of the skirt. So mine is around 11.5. So this is going to be the length of the ruffles I'm going to attach to my skirt. Okay, so from where you can see, so you can measure from the waist to where you have that style line. Then you also measure from the waist to the length of the skirt, subtract the difference, and you get the length of your ruffle. So mine is 11.5. Okay, I'll say that again. You can measure the skirt length and also measure from the waist to the style line. Whatever you have, subtract the difference, subtract it from each other, and the difference is your skirt length. Or you can just measure it from that style line down to the length of the skirt. Now I have turned it with lining and have taken my 2 inches I've taken in my body measurements. Okay, so this is what we have. Remember, I turned the lining we have in, so I'm left with 1.5. So what I did was taking 1.5 by the sides and make sure that I turned my lining properly. You can see. So I hope you know how to turn the lining. If you do not, please tell me. I'll make a video on how to turn your dresses, your skirts with lining. So I'm measuring the style line here so that I'll get the length for my ruffles. Okay, we already have the length of the ruffles. So we're looking at the width of the ruffles. The length of the ruffles is 11.5. So we need to measure this to get the width of the ruffles. So I'm going to measure that again. So from here, or from where you will want your style line ended, I'm going to measure round. I have around 26.5. So that would be what I would use to get my star, the width of my ruffles. So 26.5, I'm going to multiply that by 3. Whatever I have, I'm going to cut that out and I'll ruffle it together. Now remember that the length of my ruffles is 11.5. I need 1 inch at the lower part to hem it, and that would be 12.5. Then I need ½ inch at the upper part to attach the ruffle to the skirt, and that is 13. So what I'm cutting out here is 13 inches. So the length of my ruffles is now 13 inches instead of 11.5 that we had previously. Okay, then the width is 26.5, or whatever you got from measuring your style line times 3 inches. That's going to give you enough to gather and attach it to your style line. So you're going to cut it, join it, make it a long strip of fabric. Then you go to your sewing machine, use your needle and thread. You can use your sewing machine to gather if you have a gather's foot. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to trim out the edges because I don't like seeing them on the dresses or my clothes. So afterwards, I'll just go and gather it directly. Just gather it all the way to get back to 26.5. Okay, then I attach the gathers to the style line. So you can see this is what we have. I had to take this video when I was packaging the dresses or the skirts for the client, so I had to make this video. I totally forgot this part. I forgot to record this part. So while I was trying to package, I decided to take a video. I also made a band. Okay, I attached a band, okay, so that I use it to tie around the waist. So on the two sides of the front, you can see I attached a band. So the length of the band can be your waist measurement times 2, so that it can go around your body as much as you want. So you can tie properly, you can secure properly, so that when you are dancing like David danced, your skirt will pull. What I also did was to attach snap buttons or press buttons, okay, to it, so that my client can snip it together, so that it doesn't move when she's walking. So Off camera of all of this, I would attach a press button or velcro tape, okay, so that when the client wraps it around her body, she can snap on the button so it will secure firmly so that her body doesn't show. Okay, so this is what we have. This is the ruffles and this is my skirt. So I'll see you in my next tutorial. I hope you loved it. If you did, send me a message. I love you. Subscribe. Bye.